Diana Taurasi, one of the greatest legends in basketball, has never been one to shy away from speaking her mind. But recently, her strong words about rising star Caitlin Clark have sparked a firestorm. Taurasi, known for her fierce competitive spirit and unfiltered opinions, has gone off in a way that's left the basketball community buzzing. As the face of women's basketball for years, Taurasi's criticism of Clark has raised eyebrows and ignited a debate that's bigger than the game itself. This clash of titans isn't just about differing opinions. It's a moment that could reshape the narrative in women's sports, and the ramifications are bound to be huge.
Caitlin being here, did it feel like a playoff game to you guys?
It felt like a home game to
We've
me.
been selling out every game. Yeah, it felt like a normal home game to us.
But you don't usually sell out the upper tier too, so.
It felt like a normal home game to us, yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
X Factor always shows up.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of BG's impact tonight on both ends and just ability to draw contact and get to the line?
Yeah, it's huge for us. I mean, when she can dominate the paint like that on both ends, it makes, our team better. So, yeah, that was good.
The world of women's basketball has been rocked by a recent exchange between two of the sport's most prominent figures. Diana Taurasi, the legendary icon whose name is synonymous with greatness, and Caitlin Clark, the rising star who has just been crowned the #1 player in history. Taurasi's sharp criticism of Clark has sent shockwaves through the basketball community, igniting a fierce debate that transcends the court. This clash between the old guard and the new generation isn't just a passing feud. It's a moment that could redefine the sport and the legacy of both athletes. Diana Taurasi's reputation precedes her. With a career spanning nearly 2 decades, she has been the face of women's basketball, setting records, winning championships, and earning accolades that have cemented her status as one of the greatest players of all time. Her competitive drive, on-court leadership, and ability to perform in clutch moments have made her a household name. Taurasi is known not just for her incredible skills, but also for her unfiltered, candid opinions. She's never been one to shy away from speaking her mind, and her words carry weight in the basketball world. Caitlin Clark, on the other hand, represents the future of women's basketball. Her meteoric rise to the top has been nothing short of spectacular.
Your thoughts going into facing Caitlin Clark for the first time on Sunday?
Yeah, it'll be fun.
I expected more from Diana Taurasi, ain't gonna lie about that. I expected something like can't wait. I expected something like get your popcorn ready. I expected something like, oh yeah, I've been waiting for this. Something like that. But it doesn't really matter because we remember what she said to Scott Van Pelt on SportsCenter for ESPN months ago when she said there's levels to this. It's one thing to go against young girls and stuff like that. You about to go up against grown women. We're going to be waiting for her. So guess what? This is Caitlin Clark's.
Clark's blend of shooting, playmaking, and basketball IQ has earned her comparisons to some of the greatest players in the game, and her recent crowning as the #1 player in history has solidified her place in the sport's pantheon. At such a young age, she's already achieved what many can only dream of, and her potential seems limitless. However, it's this very ascent that has drawn the ire of Taurasi. The veteran star has expressed skepticism about the rapid elevation of Clark to the status of greatest player, questioning whether such a title is deserved so early in her career.
I think we could have executed a little bit better on offense, but they're a really good defensive team. So we got a little stagnant. We didn't get out in transition probably as much as we would have liked, but we did some good things, but also some things we can learn from.
Taurasi's critique isn't just about Clark's abilities on the court. It's about the broader implications of crowning a new player as the greatest of all time, while veterans like Taurasi, who have laid the foundation for the sport, are still active. Taurasi's comments have sparked intense debate among fans, analysts, and players. On one side, there are those who agree with Taurasi, arguing that Clark's accomplishments, while impressive, should be viewed in the context of a career that is still in its early stages. They believe that Clark, despite her incredible talent, has yet to face the full spectrum of challenges that come with a long, storied career like Taurasi's. For these critics, greatness is not just about talent and accolades, it's about longevity, consistency, and the ability to dominate over time. On the other side of the debate are those who believe that Caitlin Clark's achievements are already enough to place her among the all-time greats. They point to her record-breaking performances, her ability to take over games, and the impact she's had on the sport in such a short time. To them, Clark represents a new era of basketball, one where young stars can reach the pinnacle of the sport earlier than ever before. They argue that dismissing Clark's accomplishments because of her age or experience is unfair and overlooks the evolution of the game. The clash between Taurasi and Clark is emblematic of a broader tension in sports, between the established legends who have defined an era and the new generation eager to carve out their own legacy. It's a dynamic that has played out in countless sports over the years, from Michael Jordan and LeBron James in basketball to Serena Williams and Naomi Osaka in tennis. In each case, the passing of the torch from one generation to the next is fraught with challenges, and it often sparks heated debates about what it means to be the greatest. For Diana Taurasi, the stakes are personal. She has spent her career building a legacy that is unmatched in women's basketball. Her records, her championships, and her influence on the game are a testament to her greatness. To see a young player like Caitlin Clark rise so quickly to the top must feel like a challenge to everything she has worked for. Taurasi's criticism of Clark isn't just about the younger player's talent, it's about protecting her own legacy, ensuring that her contributions to the sport aren't overshadowed by the next big thing. But Caitlin Clark isn't backing down. In response to Taurasi's comments, Clark has remained composed and confident, expressing respect for Taurasi while also making it clear that she's focused on her own game and her own legacy. Clark understands the significance of what she's achieved, but she's also aware that her journey is far from over. She's not looking to dethrone Taurasi, she's looking to build her own path, one that can stand alongside the greats who came before her. The debate between Taurasi and Clark has brought the spotlight back to the question of what it means to be the greatest in sports. Is it about the totality of a career, or can greatness be recognized in the moment? Is it about breaking records and winning titles, or is it about the impact a player has on the game and on those who follow them? These are questions that don't have easy answers, and they are at the heart of the tension between Taurasi and Clark. As this debate rages on, it's important to remember that both Taurasi and Clark have made significant contributions to the sport. Taurasi's legacy is secure. She will always be remembered as one of the greatest to ever play the game. Her influence on women's basketball, both in terms of her on-court performance and her role as a leader and mentor, is undeniable. Clark, meanwhile, is still writing her story. Her recent crowning as the #1 player in history is a significant milestone, but it's just one chapter in what promises to be a long and illustrious career. The tension between Taurasi and Clark is also a reflection of the growing pains in women's basketball. The sport is evolving, with new stars emerging and the level of competition reaching new heights. As the game continues to grow, the debates about legacy, greatness, and the future of the sport will only intensify. Taurasi and Clark are at the center of this evolution, and their rivalry, whether it's played out on the court or in the media, will be a defining narrative in the years to come. The debate between Diana Taurasi and Caitlin Clark has has sparked a conversation that reaches far beyond the basketball court. As these two incredible athletes continue to make their mark on the game, their rivalry highlights the evolving nature of greatness in sports. The basketball world is ablaze with excitement as Caitlin Clark has just been crowned the #1 player in history. In a sport filled with legends, Clark's rise to the top is nothing short of extraordinary. Her electrifying performances, combined with an unparalleled ability to dominate the game, have redefined what it means to be the best. This moment marks a turning point in basketball history, as Clark's achievement forces us to rethink the standards of greatness. As she steps into the spotlight, the impact of her legacy is already beginning to ripple through the sport, inspiring a new generation and sparking intense debate about what it truly means to be the greatest of all time.
The Indiana Fever will select Caitlin as a #1 pick in the WNBA draft. And get this, guys. Okay, she was in the second grade, and she said her teacher handed out these sheets with little bubbles, and they were told to put in their goals and their dreams. Caitlin Clark wrote in the second grade, dreaming of playing one day in the WNBA, and her mama still has that sheet.
Caitlin Clark's recent crowning as the #1 player in history has sent shockwaves through the world of basketball. It's a title that carries immense weight, one that has sparked celebration, debate, and reflection on the evolution of the sport. To understand the magnitude of this moment, it's essential to delve into Clark's journey, her impact on the game, and what this accolade means in the context of basketball's rich history. Caitlin Clark's rise to the top has been nothing short of meteoric. From her early days as a high school phenom to her dominance at the collegiate level, Clark has consistently shattered expectations.
When they played LSU, but she's phenomenal. I'm going to go on the record and say she's the best female collegiate player ever.
Ever?
Well,
I don't know about you. You
ever.
heard of Cheryl Miller,
Ever.
Maya Moore?
I said what I said. Ever.
Diana Taurasi?
I said what I said.
No disrespect.
Listen,
Hey, Caitlin Clark is amazing.
This is my opinion.
Candace
I'm not
Parker?
changing it. You ever had a Candace
Nobody's
Parker?
ever shot it like her. No, she's like Steph
said
Curry.
what I said.
Yeah, you're right.
Listen, I ain't disrespecting nobody. It's just my opinion, and I ain't going to change it. How about that?
Her playing style is a unique blend of precision, athleticism, and a deep understanding of the game. Whether it's her three-point shooting, her ability to orchestrate the offense, or her knack for delivering in clutch moments, Clark has proven time and again that she's a once-in-a-generation talent. But what truly sets Clark apart is not just her skill set, but the way she approaches the game. There's a certain poise and confidence in her play that has captivated fans and critics alike. She plays with a sense of purpose, as if she's always 2 steps ahead, anticipating the next move before anyone else on the court even realizes what's happening. This basketball IQ, combined with her physical gifts, makes her a nightmare for opponents and a dream for coaches. Clark's journey to becoming the #1 player in history has been marked by numerous milestones. At every stage of her career, she's faced challenges and surpassed them with flying colors. In high school, she was already being compared to some of the greats, and by the time she reached college, it was clear that she was destined for something special. Her ability to elevate her game when it matters most has been a hallmark of her career. Whether it's hitting a game-winning shot or leading her team through a tough stretch, Clark has consistently delivered in the most crucial moments.
Well, I think there's pros and cons to both sides, and that's what made the decision so difficult. It was almost a win-win, but at the same time a lose-lose because I was giving up something, and I'm just kind of ready for the next chapter and a new challenge in my life. But I think the reason I decided to announce it when I did was just to have that closure, especially going into senior night.
The statistics alone paint a picture of a player who is unparalleled in her generation. She's broken records, set new standards, and consistently been at the top of the leaderboard in almost every significant category. But statistics only tell part of the story. What makes Clark's achievement even more remarkable is the context in which it has occurred. She's not just playing the game, she's redefining it. In a sport that has been dominated by legends like Diana Taurasi, Sue Bird, and Maya Moore, Clark's ascent to the top is a testament to her extraordinary talent and hard work. But it's also a reflection of how the game itself has evolved. The women's game today is faster, more physical, and more competitive than ever before. The players are more skilled, the teams are deeper, and the level of play has reached new heights. In this environment, for Clark to be recognized as the greatest is a statement not just about her abilities, but about the future of the sport. Her impact extends beyond the court. Clark has become a cultural icon, inspiring a new generation of players who see her as a role model. She's shown that it's possible to be both an elite athlete and a leader, both on and off the court. Her presence has brought more attention to women's basketball, drawing in fans who might not have otherwise been interested in the sport. In many ways, Clark is not just the face of the game today. She's shaping its future. But with such an accolade comes the inevitable comparisons. Is Caitlin Clark truly the greatest player in history? It's a question that has sparked intense debate among fans, analysts, and former players. Some argue that her dominance in today's game is unmatched, that she's taken the sport to places it's never been before. Others point to the legends of the past, players who paved the way for Clark and whose contributions to the game are still felt today. The comparison game is tricky. Each era of basketball has had its own challenges, its own style of play, and its own standout players. The legends of the past played in a different context, facing different kinds of competition and under different rules. Players like Cheryl Swoops, Lisa Leslie, and Tamika Catchings were pioneers, breaking barriers and setting new standards at a time when women's basketball was still fighting for recognition. Their contributions laid the foundation for the game as it is today, and without them, it's hard to imagine someone like Clark reaching the heights she has.
She's incredible. I mean, especially to the exact shot that she broke it. I mean, I think that pretty much sums it up, right? Just pulling up from basically half court. But I love it. It's so good for the game. It's really cool to see somebody just not be afraid of the moment, and just excited for her. And who knows? You know, everyone's trying to figure out she's coming out or she's staying put. But you know, if I'm Iowa, I'm going to throw the kitchen sink at her for sure.
Yet, what makes Clark's achievement so significant is that she's not just following in the footsteps of these legends. She's blazing her own trail. She's taking the game to places even they couldn't have imagined, pushing the boundaries of what's possible and setting new standards for future generations. In this sense, her crowning as the #1 player in history isn't just about her individual talent, it's about the culmination of everything that has come before her and the new path she's creating for those who will come after. It's also important to consider the broader impact of Clark's recognition. In a world where women's sports still struggle for the same level of attention and respect as men's sports, Clark's achievement is a powerful statement. It's a reminder that women's basketball is just as exciting, just as competitive, and just as worthy of recognition as its male counterpart. Clark's crowning is a victory not just for her, but for the entire sport, a sign that the game is finally getting the respect and attention it deserves. However, with this recognition also comes pressure. Being named the #1 player in history is an incredible honor, but it also sets the bar incredibly high. Clark now carries the weight of expectation, with every move she makes scrutinized and every performance judged against the lofty standards that have been set for her. It's a burden that few athletes have had to bear, and how Clark handles it will be a key part of her legacy. So far, all signs suggest that Clark is more than up to the challenge. She's shown time and again that she thrives under pressure, that she embraces the big moments rather than shying away from them. But as her career continues to unfold, it will be fascinating to see how she navigates this new chapter. Will she continue to dominate, adding to her legacy with each passing season? Tensions are running high in the basketball world as Angel Reese, a powerhouse on the court, finds herself spiraling after an unexpected rejection from none other than Shaquille O'Neal. Known for her fierce determination, Reese's reaction was explosive, leaving fans and analysts stunned. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark, the rising star who's been capturing headlines, has just made a game-changing move that could redefine the future of the WNBA. As these two stories collide, the stakes have never been higher, and the impact on the sport could be monumental. What exactly happened to trigger this intense drama? Stay tuned as we unravel the explosive events that have everyone talking.
When they played LSU, but she's phenomenal. I'm going to go on the record and say she's the best female collegiate player ever.
Ever? Well, I don't know about you. You ever heard of Cheryl Miller?
Ever.
Maya Moore?
I said what I said. Ever.
Diana Taurasi?
I said what I said.
No disrespect.
Listen,
Caitlin Clark is amazing.
This is my opinion.
Candace
I'm not
Parker?
changing it.
Listen, nobody's ever shot it like her. No, she's like Steph
said
Curry.
what I said.
Yeah, you're right.
Listen, I ain't disrespecting nobody. It's just my opinion, and I ain't going to change it. How about that?
The world of women's basketball has been nothing short of electrifying in recent years, with new talents emerging and the competition reaching unprecedented heights. At the center of this storm are two of the most talked-about players, Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. Their rivalry, both real and perceived, has captivated fans and sparked endless debates. But behind the scenes, there's more to the story than just what happens on the court. Angel Reese, known for her fiery persona and unstoppable drive, has had her share of highs and lows, including a recent clash with NBA legend Shaquille O'Neal. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark has been making waves with her game-changing performances, leaving an indelible mark on the sport. What Shaq thinks about Reese and the ongoing debate that has everyone choosing sides. Angel Reese has always been a player who wears her emotions on her sleeve. Her intensity is one of the things that makes her such a compelling figure on the court.
Well, it was definitely what happened last year between Caitlin Clark and, Angel Reese. It was, talked about and would have liked to seen that rematch in time. But Caitlin Clark is a special player. She reminds me of a Steph Curry. A lot of times she takes those ill-advised shots that me and Chuck don't like, but they go in. Not only do they go in consistently. And the way she plays the game, she's the true definition of a great player, one that makes the players around her better. Not only was she making a great shot, she was making great passes, and she took her loss with humility. Shout out to the Iowa program. Shout out to all the female programs. Juju Watkins is a great player. Again, kudos to the women, for performing at a very, very super high level, and I'm happy for them. I'm happy for women's college basketball.
Me too.
It was very exciting.
From the moment she steps onto the hardwood, you can see the fire in her eyes, the determination to prove herself, and the desire to win at all costs. Reese's passion has earned her a legion of fans, but it's also made her a polarizing figure. Some see her as the embodiment of what it means to be a competitor, while others think she's too emotional, too volatile. But for Reese, it's all part of the game. When it comes to Caitlin Clark, Reese has always had a mix of respect and rivalry. Clark, with her impressive shooting ability and court vision, is a different type of player than Reese. Where Reese is all about power and aggression, Clark is more about finesse and precision. Reese knows that Clark is a formidable opponent, and she's never been one to shy away from acknowledging her talent. However, there's also a part of Reese that feels overshadowed by the praise Clark receives. In Reese's mind, there's an ongoing battle, not just on the court, but in the court of public opinion. Clark's rise has been meteoric. Her performances have been nothing short of spectacular, and she's quickly become one of the most talked about players in the game.
Caitlin Clark is a hell of a player for sure. But I don't take disrespect lightly. And she disrespected Alexis and my girls, South Carolina, they still my SEC girls too. That y'all not gonna disrespect them either. So I wanted to pick her pocket, but I had a moment at the end of the game, and I was in my bag. I was in my moment. Yeah.
Fans love her for her calm demeanor, her ability to stay cool under pressure, and her knack for delivering in clutch moments. But for Reese, Clark's success is a double-edged sword. On one hand, she recognizes that Clark's talent is undeniable, and she respects her for what she's accomplished. On the other hand, Reese can't help but feel that the constant comparisons between them are unfair. Reese has often found herself frustrated by the way the media and fans pit her against Clark. While she understands that comparisons are inevitable in sports, she feels that the narrative often overlooks the unique strengths she brings to the table. Reese is a dominant force in her own right, with a style of play that's unmatched by anyone else. Yet, she often feels that her contributions are undervalued in favor of Clark's more traditional, textbook approach to the game. This frustration came to a head recently when Shaquille O'Neal, one of the most influential figures in basketball, made comments that seemed to downplay Reese's impact. Shaq, who has always been known for his blunt opinions, praised Clark for her game-changing abilities, suggesting that she was the future of women's basketball.
Critique these guys, these youngsters and these females, they don't understand that all the stuff that they're getting ready to go through, we are the masters of that. So I was just, telling her how to handle adversity, how to handle, controversy. And, with a person like her, you don't really want to come and say, do this and do that. I was just coming and, giving her encouraging words, just telling her, to hang in there. Because when you're the best player and you play for a great coach like Kim Mulkey, they stay on you.
While he didn't outright dismiss Reese, his words carried a weight that was hard for her to ignore. For Reese, it felt like a rejection, not just of her skills, but of everything she's fought for throughout her career. Shaq's opinion matters. He's a four-time NBA champion, a Hall of Famer, and a respected voice in the sport. When he speaks, people listen. So when he appeared to side with Clark in the ongoing debate, it sent a clear message that didn't sit well with Reese. She's always seen herself as a player who breaks the mold, who brings something different to the game. To have that seemingly overlooked by someone as influential as Shaq was a blow. Reese's reaction was swift and intense. In true Angel Reese fashion, she didn't hold back. She expressed her disappointment, not just in Shaq's comments, but in what she sees as a broader pattern of being underestimated and undervalued. For Reese, this isn't just about one comment from Shaq. It's about a lifetime of having to prove herself over and over again. It's about fighting against the stereotypes and the expectations that have been placed on her, and the feeling that no matter what she does, it's never enough. The debate between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark has now taken on a life of its own, fueled by comments from players, analysts, and fans alike. On one side are those who believe that Clark represents the future of the sport, a player who combines skill, intelligence, and poise in a way that few others can. As the stories of Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark continue to unfold, it's clear that we're witnessing two athletes who are both changing the game in their own unique ways. While the debates and comparisons may persist, what's undeniable is the impact each of them is having on women's basketball. Angel Reese's fiery spirit and Caitlin Clark's calculated precision represent two different yet equally compelling approaches to the sport. Both are pushing the boundaries, challenging expectations, and inspiring countless fans and future players alike. In the end, it's not about choosing sides or deciding who's better. It's about appreciating the richness that both of these athletes bring to the game. Their impact goes beyond the court, resonating with anyone who loves the game and appreciates the passion and dedication it takes to reach the top. In a jaw-dropping turn of events, Angel Reese, the star forward, known for her fierce competitiveness on the court, found herself on the receiving end of a harsh reality check. After a series of critiques from experts, her composure unraveled in a moment that stunned fans and critics alike. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark, the rising phenom, has just delivered a performance that sent shockwaves through the basketball world, leaving everyone speechless. What exactly happened to cause such a dramatic fallout? Stay tuned as we dive into the details of this explosive showdown.
Unapologetically Angel. It's part of Playmakers Network of podcasts from Shaquille O'Neal. On the debut episode, co-host Maya Reese, who is Angel's cousin, asked her to address her feelings about rival Indiana Fever's Caitlin Clark and the Fever's fan base. Take a look at what Angel Reese had to say about that. Quote, Caitlin Clark fans, the Iowa fans, now the Indiana fans, I think there's a lot of racism when it comes to it, and I don't believe she stands on any of that. But when it comes to death threats, like, I'm talking about people who have come down to my address, following me home. Multiple occasions, people have made AI pictures of me naked, literally. They've sent it to my family members. It sucks to see that, and it's really hard that I have to go through that, end quote. If Angel Reese was older, I would have gotten on her about what she just said.
The basketball world has always been a place where talent, tenacity, and sheer willpower collide, creating narratives that both inspire and divide fans. Recently, the debate between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark has reached a fever pitch, pulling fans, analysts, and even casual observers into a heated conversation that goes far beyond the court.
Ladies and gentlemen, I love Caitlin Clark. She's been a guest on this show. I think she's spectacular. I'm the one that's been calling her the Steph Curry of women's basketball, and she has done nothing to push that back. I mean, this young lady is spectacular. She's been great for women's basketball overall, not just college basketball, but women's basketball. I think she has the potential, when all is said and done, to be arguably the greatest ever, because when you have that kind of range and that kind of handle, and you can pull up from the parking lot like Steph Curry, for crying out loud.
Angel Reese, a dominant force known for her powerful presence and relentless drive, has been a standout player since her high school days. Her journey to stardom was marked by impressive performances, numerous accolades, and a reputation as one of the most formidable competitors in the game. On the court, she's a beast, fighting for every rebound, challenging every shot, and pushing her team to victory time and again. Off the court, Reese has carried herself with a confidence that's not just earned, but necessary in a sport where female athletes often fight for respect on a daily basis. But with visibility comes scrutiny, and Reese has found herself under a microscope.
Because you're at a decisive advantage, Angel Reese. You're at a decisive advantage because they made the mistake of letting you know who they are, whoever those people are. And now you have perfect justification for keeping people at bay and not letting people too close where they could potentially hurt you. It's something most people usually learn when they get older. You learned it younger, which is a beautiful, beautiful thing. You're at an advantage. As for the Caitlin Clark fans she was alluding to, she ain't lying. It's not all, it's not most. A lot of them are fun-loving. A lot of them are great fans. A lot of them are great, great people. But some of them are racist. Some of them don't want Angel Reese to be the one coming at her, and they use ethnicity as the rationale behind it. Again, very few compared to the many who wouldn't do that. But it is that kind of hate. I've seen it for years. I saw it when Allen Iverson was playing, and I was covering him every day.
Recent games saw her falter, something that rarely happens to a player of her caliber. The pressure was immense, the expectations even higher, and for a moment, it seemed like the weight of it all might be too much. Experts were quick to point out her flaws, dissecting every missed shot, every turnover, every moment where she didn't live up to her usual standard. Criticism, especially at this level, is brutal. It's not just about pointing out mistakes. It's about questioning a player's character, their resilience, their worth. Angel Reese's reaction was raw, unfiltered, and intensely human.
Caitlin Clark is a hell of a player for sure. But I don't take disrespect lightly. And she disrespected Alexis and my girls. South Carolina, they still my SEC girls too. Y'all not gonna disrespect them either. So I wanted to pick her pocket, but I had a moment at the end of the game, and I was in my bag. I was in my moment. Yeah.
She didn't hide her frustration, and in doing so, she opened herself up to even more criticism. For some, her outburst was a sign of weakness, proof that she wasn't as mentally tough as everyone believed. For others, it was a relatable moment, a reminder that even the best among us have breaking points. The conversation quickly polarized, with fans and pundits taking sides, debating whether Reese's reaction was justified or if it marked the beginning of her decline. In the midst of all this, Caitlin Clark was making headlines of her own.
Angel Reese following you around, pointing to her ring finger and taunting you?
Honestly, I have no idea. I was just trying to get to the handshake line and shake hands and, be grateful that my team was in that position. That's all you can do is, hold your head high, be proud of what you did, and, all the credit in the world to LSU. They were tremendous. They deserve it. They had a tremendous season.
Clark, a player whose talent seems to grow with every game, was the epitome of cool under pressure. While Reese was struggling, Clark was thriving, delivering performances that left audiences in awe. Her ability to control the pace of the game, to seemingly score at will, and to make her teammates better in the process was something that even the harshest critics couldn't ignore. Clark's rise has been meteoric, and with every game, she's proving that she belongs in the conversation as one of the best players in the country.
They saw it when Michael Jordan was on the come up. LeBron James, need I remind y'all, had racial epithets spray painted on his home in Brentwood, California, just a few years ago. This ain't new. We want to act like it's new. We want to act like we're this race-less society, that people ain't thinking about that. Most decent, God-fearing, loving people ain't thinking like that. But there's quite enough people who are far from that, who live on that kind of vitriol and hatred. And some of them, not most, not all, some of them have been Caitlin Clark fans coming at Angel Reese. All she stated was the obvious, plain and simple.
As the dust settles on this intense debate between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, it's clear that this moment in women's basketball is about more than just comparing two standout athletes. It's a reflection of the broader conversations happening in sports and society at large about how we define greatness, how we respond to adversity, and how we support our heroes when they're at their highest and lowest points. Both Reese and Clark have shown us that there's no single path to success. One thrives on raw emotion and passion, while the other embodies calm precision and consistency. The contrasting ways in which they approach the game have sparked conversations that extend far beyond the court.
Caitlin Clark is box office. She is a star. And Angel Reese is to be completely believed that there's no hate They both get along. They're cool with each other. They're high-end competitors, et cetera, et cetera. But you've known they were coming for you when you were waving your hands in your face to mock Caitlin Clark when you were beating her for the national championship. And you also are old enough to know that in this society, whether they want to admit it or not, they don't like seeing somebody black coming at somebody white who is a beloved star of theirs. That's not the case with all. It's not the case with most. But those who screech the loudest get the most attention sometimes.
So, whether you find yourself rooting for Reese's fiery passion or Clark's composed brilliance, one thing is undeniable. Women's basketball has never been more thrilling, and the future has never looked brighter. Stephen A. Smith has recently sparked a heated debate with his latest commentary on Angel Reese and the WNBA. The outspoken sports analyst criticized Reese for what he described as stat padding, questioning the authenticity and integrity of her performances. Smith also took aim at the WNBA, accusing the league of overreacting and throwing a tantrum over Caitlin Clark's success and visibility.